All right, so let's talk about the app service plan tiers. At the lowest end of the tier is the free shared option. Okay, it's called F1 here in the app service plan screen. And we can see that it's free, which is the awesome part. That means you can deploy code into a free host and basically it's accessible on the internet. You get 60 minutes a day of CPU time, so hopefully what you're deploying is not too popular. But I've deployed WordPress websites into this before, and certainly you can fit a lot into 1 GB of memory and 60 minutes a day of CPU time. Now, there are no bonuses here, there's no features. You really only get the 1 GB of memory and 60 minutes a day of compute. This is great for the initial setup of something. If you're not sure what you're going to end up doing, you might want to start dealing with some of the SSL certificates and um, the other options, the custom domain names that you get from higher level plans, even in development. But for early on in development, you might just want to fire up a free option. And remember, you do get the limit of 10 apps, but if it's free, that doesn't matter if you create multiple app service plans at that point, right? Now, next level up is the shared D1 plan. Okay, so basically you're still running on a limit of 4 hours a day. So it's basically 1/8 of a CPU that you have access to. Okay, you get the same 1 GB of memory. At the shared plan, you do get the option of having a custom domain name. So this starts to be a little bit useful at that point. The first tier that really has any um, usefulness at all really is the basic tier. Now you are starting to pay for this. I think it's $70 a month, $140 a month, $280 a month. You get SSL certificates, or you can use them, custom domain names, and you have the ability to scale. So if your application has some performance issues and you want to add more copies of your web app, well, then it's very easy to scale up to an additional instance. Microsoft takes care of the load balancing for you and is basically seamless to your users to basically scale up to a higher level. Now these are all labeled under dev test, so Microsoft does not suggest this be used for production workloads, or even if it is used for production workloads, it has to be less demanding workloads. When we get into the basic option, we start to talk about this concept of Azure Compute Units, or ACU. So the B1 plan is 100 of this ACU. Now what's an ACU? An ACU is just a number that Microsoft has come up with to express the performance that is only useful when comparing with other plans. So we know the B1 is 100 ACUs and the B2 is 200 ACUs. So we can say that the B2 plan is twice as performant as the B1 plan. We should expect a double of the equivalent CPU performance. They do give this suggestion that it is a A-series equivalent. So if you're unfamiliar with the virtual machines, then this is an A-series equivalent. It may or may not be an A-series, but that's what they're setting your expectation. Pricing is roughly double. When you double performance, you basically double the price on the same tier. So to go from B1 to B2 is almost exactly double. And you get double the performance, and to go to B3 is almost exactly double, and you get double the performance. Same holds true at the higher levels. Now when we switch up to the production level, then we start to see what Microsoft does recommend for most production workloads. You have standard and premium. There are 3 standard plans and 6 premium plans, although the premium plans are divided into P1 and P1 V2, which is obviously version 2 of the premium service. Now we can look at the features for standard. We not only get the custom domains and SSL, but we get auto scaling. So this is the first tier that supports automatic scaling up and scaling down, does not require you to write scripts or to be manually monitoring the performance of the application. We also get staging slots, which we'll talk about. These are helpful when you're developing and you want to do some testing. etc. For QA staging. We've got backup options at this level, and we've got a load balancer that runs on a global scale called Traffic Manager. So you get, this is really some pretty good features that you're getting. Okay. Now, when you move up to the premium plan, what's the difference between a standard and a premium? Okay. Now, basically, you're going to get more of each. So on the standard plan, you get up to 5 auto scale instances. On the premium plan, you get up to 20 instances. So if you really do need to grow the performance, then you can enjoy up to 20 instances of this. Staging slots up to 20, although I don't know who's using 20 staging slots. That just means 20 different versions of your application that is available to be tested. But the feature is there. Daily backups. So at the standard level, I believe it's 10 times a day backups. That's once every 2 hours roughly. And if you go up to the premium option, then you have up to 50 backups, which is every half an hour roughly. So it's 5 times as many backups exactly, right? So that's the primary difference between standard and premium. When we look at the Premium 1 versus Premium V2, what is really interesting, to me at least, is that the Premium V2 is a lot cheaper than the Premium 1, and you get twice the performance and twice the memory. So to save $90 a month, you get an extra 110 ACUs and you double the memory. So it would really be interesting to understand why you would need Premium 1 if you're not going to choose Premium V2. This is like savings built into it right there and double the performance. If we compare the P2 that has 200 ACUs with the P1 that has 200 ACUs, the price difference is pretty stark, $300 a month roughly. The other thing you can compare is the standard plan. If you look at the standard 2 and the Premium 1 V2, same level of performance, same memory, same price. So again, why would you choose standard when premium has more features and is exactly the same price? So really this screen is setting you up to choose the P1 V2 or P2 V2 or P3 V2 options, and all of the other options don't make sense compared to them. So after all of that, options in your own workloads within your own environments or even on the test, I would not suggest choosing anything other than P1 V2. Now, there might be questions around what do you get in the premium tier. So if you need more than 10 backups a day, then you're forced to go premium. But we can see here the pricing really doesn't make sense between S2 and P1 V2 or P1. Moving up to the isolated plan, the name kind of gives it away, but if you do not want any other users or tenants running on the same hardware, then you have the option of signing up for this isolated plan. This is like a combination of virtual machines, infrastructure as a service, and platform as a service. You get all the benefits of platform as a service, how easy it is to deploy, all of the built-in backups and auto scaling and all that stuff, but you're running on your own hardware, on your own network. Okay, so there's no traffic to slow you down. There's no other tenants running on that computer to slow you down. The pricing, of course, really makes up for it. So when we go from P1 V2, $190 a month, to I1, it is $280 a month, which is 50% more. But you might think, oh, 50% more, that's reasonable for your own hardware. This is not entirely accurate because there's a $1,000 a month charge for the hardware. So you're paying $1,000 a month to have the single tenant, plus you're paying $285 a month per app service plan running on that tenant. So then suddenly things start to click. Okay. So unfortunately, this screen, I would hope Microsoft would put an asterisk or sort of put the thing, but there is a $1,000 a month charge on top of choosing one of these plans. The reason why it doesn't say 1285, I guess, is because if you have multiple instances, so if you have your I1 plan and you want to have 10 running instances of I1, then it's going to be 10 times 285 plus 1,000. That's how the pricing works. So that's how those are the differences between the different plans. Sometimes this change, I would go back from time to time and check it. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to follow my own advice. I'm going to choose the P1 V2 option because again, well, actually I'll choose the S1 option because it's half the price. I'm going to choose the S1 option, and we can show you later on how to switch between them. So I'm going to click OK, and what we now have is a web app running on Windows that I'm going to expect to push code to, brand new app service plan, and Application Insights has turned itself on for this as well. When I click Create, this is going to create me an empty web app. I'm going to do that, and in the next video, we'll see how that worked.